Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from LovenStamps and we are here for another Maker Mornings with Meg video. It is Wednesday and I wanted to do something with this card base that was left over. So last week I showed you guys how to make a pop-up card base. Butterfly card, this one here, and I had an extra base that I made kind of ahead of time and stuff, and it's been sitting here taunting me. So I thought, you know what, we're gonna make something else with that card base. And when I was looking through the retiring list, I found one of, I think, the prettiest floral stamp sets that we've had in a long time, and it is called To a Wild Rose. So it is this one right here. And it is a like 3-step stamp set, so you kind of layer the pieces over each other, and it's really simple to use, and it makes really pretty images. So we're gonna use that. And the other reason that I was excited about this is because the die set is on the retiring catalog page, and it's one of those dies that they must have a large supply of, and they're clearancing out. And instead of being $34, this die set is $8, okay? So the die set is actually really pretty too without the stamp set even, and I'll show you a little bit of that. We're gonna use some shimmer paint, which is also on clearance for 60% off. Carol says, good morning, something edible. Did I miss something? Anyway, I could eat. I'm always up for something. So anyway, I'm glad you guys are all here this morning. All right, so let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to show you some of the stamping with this stamp set and the colors I picked. So obviously I started with Rococo Rose, which is one of the retiring colors. The Rococo Rose ink pad is not on the sold out list yet. I anticipate that it will be there pretty soon. So don't wait if you want these color items, okay? And then, yeah, let's get started. Inside the box. Oh, put something edible inside the box. Well, we could, but it would have to be super skinny to fit in there. And I don't know, maybe little mini cookies. It could be like a compartment. But really what we're gonna do is we're gonna make an exploding box card. So it just opens like this so that you have your pieces. I get it now. Sometimes you gotta catch me up though. All right, so I'm gonna flip you guys down this direction. And let's see, wrong way. Get started. So let's see, the thing that we need to get started with is some Whisper White cardstock and the stamps that we're gonna use. So like I said, To a Wild Rose is a 3-step stamp set. So these 3 images make up the whole complete, 3 stamps make up the whole complete image. So I usually like to start with the outline image for something like this, because I feel like it's easier to put the pieces inside than to have to go back and forth. Carol with a solution. You could put a food gift card in there. Actually, that's kind of a good idea, although it might be a little skinny. You could resize the card to fit in there for sure. Okay, so for our outline stamp, now when you have a floral like this, one of the tricks is always figuring out which way to line it up so that the pieces match. So my tip for that is I always look around the edge of my stamp for sticky outy parts. That is the technical term, the sticky outy parts. And on this one, there are 2. There's this little petal that sticks out, and there's this little petal that sticks out. And so I am going to kind of keep those on the left and right side so that I can figure out from there pretty easily what's gonna line up. And I want 2 of these flowers. So I'm gonna stamp it twice, and I have my sticky outy parts on the left and right, and then there's this a little side piece here where there's a little divot, and so I'm gonna use that to my advantage too. All right, so then I have my next stamp, and I have the sticky outy parts on the left and right, and I am going to stamp off on this once. So stamp on your scratch paper before you stamp on your project, and then go ahead and put that on there. So stamp off once, and that is going to just help us get some color differentiation between the 2 layers of the image. Kind of see how that comes out. It's not quite complete though, because I have a 3rd layer, and it's really easy to line this up because I have those sticky outies on the side. So I'm gonna pop this here and layer this in the background, okay? And look at how much that adds between the 2 images, just to accent that color and give you just a really pretty colored in look. So if you don't love coloring your stamps to make complete images, this kind of like 3-step stamp set or 2-step stamp set is really a great asset. All right, I know Sue's got a love-hate with the fabulous sale things, right? Okay, so here is the die that matches this, and you can see it also has those sticky outy side parts, so it makes it pretty easy to line up. I'm just gonna flip it, and you can see the divot, so the divot's gonna go here, which is the top for you guys, the bottom for me. Okay, so that's gonna line up, and I'm gonna die cut these two, and through the magic of television, I have 2 Rococo Rose flowers ready to go. And I use the same ink pad for all 3 steps, okay? Now, also to go in our card, I feel like we need some greenery. So I am going to stamp the leaves. And the leaves here are they're 3-step. Well, I'm just gonna use 2 because that's all I pulled out. So you can get away with 2 apparently, but I'm gonna do the same process. I'm gonna stamp the outline first, and then I'm going to stamp the background. And I might not stamp off on the background. The stamps themselves are designed to come out a little bit lighter because they are texturized, sort of in that distinctive stamping way. Okay, so there's our leaves. And the die for those matches like this. And through the magic of television, I also have 2 leaves to go. Okay, so now we're getting some layering pieces together. So just like the pieces inside our butterfly card, we want some different elements here to kind of recombine and have some variety of our pop-up, okay? So then we're going to work on some kind of focal point. So on our butterfly card, it was this right here. But one of the other great things about this die set, so here's the pieces together, is this label die. I love this shape, and it has a stitched element to it. So it gives you some really nice choices. And I'm gonna bring in Petal Pink here. And we're going to go ahead and stamp on this. I'm gonna do just the outline of the rose. And so I need to grab my chamois here and clean this off. I love my stamping chamois. It's like an ink magnet, okay? And then the reason that my stamp looks so pink is that it's stained. Sometimes the red and the cherry cobbler, those reds really get sucked into the photopolymer. There's nothing wrong with this. And in fact, I honestly think it's easier because you can see where your stamp is gonna go on the paper. So if you were worried about that, but it is totally clean. I store my stamping chamois in an extra clear case so that it stays wet all the time. And I'm just gonna go ahead and throw this on here. And it's a really soft sort of color on color. I think you guys can see that okay. Because what I wanna do next is take the blessed greeting from this set, which I didn't grab an extra block for. So pop this on here. And I'm going to ink this one with Rococo Rose also, and go ahead and stamp it. So let's kind of see how this is gonna fall on here. I think I want my flower on that side and then this around here. Okay, so I've got that nice and dark. So then we're going to die cut this so that that fits kind of off center, and that floral kind of fills up some of that extra space. So that makes a really nice way to have a smaller greeting on a larger stamp. And actually I think we're gonna use an extra little element that's gonna go on the bottom. So, but before I cut this, I'm going to add in our shimmer paint. Now, shimmer paint is really great stuff. The champagne is retiring, and it is like $4.80 instead of $8. So another simple embellishment-y thing to add to your retiring shopping list. And again, everything that I'm showing you that's retired, I looked this morning, it's all still available, but things are starting to sell out a little bit. So no promises. All right, so the champagne shimmer mist, there's actually a frost white shimmer mist too that's not retiring, so that one's still gonna be available. But I love this one because it stands out a little bit more as kind of a gold champagne color. There's a metal ball in there, so you wanna make sure you give it a really good shake, especially when you first get it, because that metal ball is mixing your paint. And then you can apply this with a regular paintbrush. You can flick it on. We're gonna do the flicking method. So I have one of my water painters, and I've talked about this before, but remember, if you are an aqua painter aficionado and then you're using water painters, they work a little differently. So the aqua painters were like super light touch. If you squeeze it a tiny bit, water's like splooshing out, okay? The water painters are much tighter control. You have much better control over how much water is flowing, because when you press them and hold them, water is flowing. And I'm just sort of checking with my other hand to see how much water I've got. When you stop pressing, the water doesn't flow anymore. And I find that this is a really nice, nice control compared to what we had before with the aqua painters, which are also still good, but this is the one that Stampin' Up! Carries now. So I want this to be wet because I don't want the shimmer paint to back up along the bristles, just sort of by, you know, capillary action or whatever. And I am going to just dip this. It's pretty wet at the end. I'm gonna dip it in my paint, and then I'm going to just flick the top of my water painter. I just got done telling you that it was a water painter. And you can always add more. Let's see, so that we have some nice shimmer on there. And then I wanna make sure I wash the shimmer paint out just by brushing my water painter out on my scratch paper. Okay, so close this up. Tanya will be proud of me for closing my paint. I know my ink pads are still open, Tanya, but at least I've closed my paint. All right, so you can kind of see this here. And once it dries, I will die cut it. And through, again, the magic of television, I have one here. And you can see that shimmer paint on there maybe. I don't know, can you see it? The little dots, anyway, they're really pretty in person. So if you can't see them, trust me, they're there. Okay, so we have our elements kind of set here. We're going to go ahead and do one more little bit of stamping. I'm gonna do and grateful here so that we can have a little layer to add to our blessed tag. And we'll wait to stick that down until we kind of figure out where things are gonna go. Now for this part of the card-based directions are on the blog post that's linked in the video description. So all you have to do is look in the video description if you're watching now on Facebook or you're watching later on YouTube. You can click there and the sizes and cutting sizes and so forth are all there. You can also watch the video of how I put this card together when I made the butterfly version, okay? So I'm gonna skip over that part today and we're gonna arrange some flowers. Such a horticulturalist thing to do, right? Okay, so first thing, I have my designer series paper and I took this from, I was trying to think what petal pink designer series paper I have, petal pink or cocoa rose, and I thought, oh my gosh, fine art floral would be perfect for that. And this is a paper I've been using a lot lately. I'll grab my butterfly boxes to show you. But it's the oil painted flowers in the front, which are absolutely gorgeous, pretty overpowering. So the nice thing about the back side is that they're all a little bit more subtle pattern. And the one that I've used for this particular paper or project is this peachy one right here. So we've got some pieces cut from this, and here are those butterfly boxes that I used with the fine art floral stuff earlier. So there's that. Okay, so I've got these cut. For this cutting size, these are all cut to, actually, gosh, they're really pretty with the floral. Well, I'm gonna stay with the neutral. I think this is one that you could definitely use either way. But these pieces are all cut to 3 inches by 1 3/4 inches. And I'm gonna go ahead and use my seal to pop them onto our elements. So I've got 2 of the inserts inside our box card. So that gives us a few different attachment points. And I've got 2 flowers and then our front piece. So we're gonna have to, I like to have 3s of the pop-up things. So we're gonna add 1 more. We'll figure that out in a minute. But when our card is flat, I want our greeting to be down here and to come a little bit off to the side. I don't really want it exactly in the middle. And we kind of weighted this side of it with our flower. So I'm gonna pop this on here with a dimensional and add our greeting. Now, I could actually go a little bit over the side of the card because the dimensions here where you're scoring at 2, 4, 6, and 8 are going to give you an extra 1/4 inch outside your card. So we could extend a little bit more, but we're gonna go ahead and leave it here. And then, you know what? Maybe I'll go ahead and span the area here with bar and grateful. So I've got this kind of together. So I knew when I started doing this video this morning, I knew what pieces I wanted to use, but we hadn't quite arranged them in my head yet. So we're gonna do our flower arranging together. Okay, so here we have our box card started, and then I have these elements here, which I think I'm gonna pop, you know what, I'm gonna wait on the greenery because these flowers are pretty big, and when they're in here, I need to make sure that they fit inside our card, and I might need to do a little tricky smushing with the greenery to make them fit. So on the back of each of these, I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional and grab a little bit of window sheet. And I have one of these that's cut to 4 inches and one that's cut to 3 inches, I think. So I'm gonna do one at the 4 inch and one at the 3 inch, and that's gonna give me a little bit more leeway in getting one higher and one lower, and then still attaching in our card, okay? Window sheets, the Stampin' Up! Window sheets are fabulous for this. They're linked in the video description and the supplies. They're a really nice, heavy piece of plastic. It's kind of the perfect heavy. It's not so heavy that your stuff is like on a stick, like a dowel rod, but it's nice enough to support a big flower like this without drooping. So they're a really great weight. Okay, so then I'm gonna kind of look here and see, I'm tucking them in between the layers. Okay, so maybe about like that. Okay, so then I'm gonna pop a dimensional on the bottom of each of these and go ahead and play with these. Now, getting the pieces exactly where you want them, I remember I don't wanna go above the top of my card. This part of the process can take a little finesse. So I'm gonna twist my, okay, so I'll show you this. So my window sheet piece is not straight like this. It's actually off to a diagonal like this. So what that ensures is that I know that it's all gonna fit here when my card's closed because this flower's inside, but when I open it, that twist is gonna make my flower go off to the side instead of just being like all lined up in the center, okay? So if I take my second one and I do the twist the opposite direction, I want this to be a little lower though, so they're not competing at the same place. And then I have this one that's gonna be, it didn't twist quite as much, but it's not like quite lined up in the center either, okay? So that kind of gives you some ideas on how to place your window sheet strips. Instead of having them straight up and down, think about getting them on the diagonal. So, all right, then we need to add our greenery here. So let's see, I think this one could fit up here, and then maybe the other one will go below. Let's see, does that still fit with our card closing? Yeah, pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to pop, let's see, I'm not gonna use a dimensional because you can't have dimensional pieces that don't get covered up by the elements. Otherwise your dimensionals will seal your card shut. So I just popped a teeny bit of my multi-purpose liquid glue under the places where that overlaps. And so now we have our flower there. And then I'm gonna put my other leaf kind of down here behind, actually, maybe I'll put it, instead of trying to get it behind the second flower, maybe I'll just put it behind my first flower. So this first flower is really gonna kind of take up, here we go, the span of the front of our card. I kind of like that. So I'm gonna pop, again, just a little bit of green lead glue. This stuff, a little goes a long way. I always say if you can see it, it's enough. Because you don't want to have it like splurging all over the place, so. All right. So I'm gonna press this for a second. It's a great glue. It holds very strongly, but it doesn't grab instantly. So, all right. Oh, I kind of like that. All right, so that turned out pretty nicely. So we have our floral in the background and our floral with our leaves in the front, but I feel like I want to add one more image, right? So let's see, if I look at the dies, there are in this set some outline dies. So they don't necessarily match up with stamp sets, but they give you great like little die cut accent elements. So this pretty floral here, this little leafy element, and then there's this gorgeous like background thing that you could use. I'm not gonna use it on this card, but it's a really nice one for borders and things like that, and a leaf. There's even a flower center to go with this. So lots of pieces on this, holy cow, on sale for $8, Wild Rose dies. So I'm going to use this one here to get us a darker accent element. And then this one here, which we can just use as sprigs to kind of, you know, add to our design. So I like the idea of adding a darker element of this. So we're pretty pale. Here, I'll take this away. So we're pretty pale already. And sometimes an extra accent in a darker color can really bring things out. So check out how much richer this project looks when I add that cherry cobbler. Actually, this might be Mary Merlot. Yep, it's Mary Merlot. When I add that Mary Merlot element. And Mary Merlot is a great color with Rococo Rose and Petal Pink. So through the magic of television, I have my die cut here. And let's see, I don't know, do we want it in the back? Do we want it in the front? Kind of feel like maybe the back. We could also put it on its own little pop-up thing. Maybe we should do that and put it in the front. Ooh, I kind of like that. What do you guys think? Yeah, let's do that. So now I have to make sure, I can't use a Stampin' Dimensional to attach it, and I'm going to just use some multi-purpose liquid adhesive and pop this on, and then I'm gonna set that aside because I want it to make sure it's dry. And then I also have my Pear Pizzazz, which I used for our stamping. And I'm going to add these two little elements here. And let's see, where should we put those? We could kind of tuck one down here. I kind of like that. So, oops, so far. I kind of like that to just sort of bring that green color down. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll pop just a little bit of liquid adhesive on the back there and pop that at the bottom. And there we go. Okay, so that's stuck down. And then this last one, I don't know, maybe, oops, I didn't wait for that to dry. I picked it up. Okay, we'll give it another chance. I don't know, maybe we would want to add it here to this. Nah, I think I want it to be back here. So we could keep on decorating this same element here, or we could add it as an accent at the back. Let's do that. Let's see, if we put it over here, then it's gonna kind of extend our card sideways. I think we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna pop some multi-purpose liquid adhesive again because I don't have enough space to put a dimensional on. And then I'm gonna keep my card in this sort of halfway closed state because this gives me information about where things need to fall so that they're still within our card boundaries. So I'm gonna go a little bit here. Okay, and that is gonna grab there. And now we're gonna go ahead and carefully put our dimensional on the front. And so I have my two flowers that we've already done layered on the back panel. So that's the back one there, and this front panel. So I still have the whole front of my card, which is a great attachment point. And I'm going to pop this. Again, I'm gonna use that sideways. Let's see, did I go too far? Nope. That sideways trick so that now that element there is popped sort of on the side of our card. Oh, it's like, there we go. So when it's closed, it's gonna fit like this in our card. And then when I open the squares, it's going to stay kind of out there to the side like that. So it gives us a little bit more interest in sort of a different direction. So. All right, I think that's pretty good. So usually I like to add some kind of accenty, sparkly thing. So let's see, I'm gonna pull to my drawer here and see what accenty, sparkly thing I have. I have some gold, you know what, let's add some gold dots. So I used gold, or champagne, I guess, on the front of our tag. So I'm gonna add some extra like bonus bling here on our card. I'm gonna use some of the small ones and big ones. I love these gold faceted gems. And there are a couple there. And actually, you know what happens if I put one here in the center of our flower? Ooh, that's kind of pretty. I could put some out here on these flowers, but I think I'm not going to. I think I'm gonna leave that as my third. And that gives us some really pretty accents here for our cards. So here's the open version. All right. So the pop-up box card is a really fun design, and I think people had some great suggestions about other ways you could do a pop-up box card when I showed it last week. So here's our floral version using the Wild Rose stamp set, which is absolutely just beautiful stamped images. So if you don't have this one yet, yes, it's another floral, and we all have lots of florals, but gosh, this one's so pretty, and it's quick because all you have to do is stamp the 3 times. You don't have to color or anything like that. And then here is our butterfly version of our card. There you go. And I'm getting kits ready with help from my friend Sandy, and I'm getting kits ready to send out for March orders. So if you place an order with me for $50 or more during March, then you're gonna get your card kit projects. And those are this one and this one here. So it's that faux DSP card-based card and the fun direct-to-stamp technique. And then you also are going to get the tutorials for the other 2 cards for printable PDF. So these 2 plus this one, and I don't remember the other one that I can't find right now, but it's linked in the video description, so you can check that out. Finally, I had a couple questions really recently about the back orders on things. There are a number of back orders coming in the week of April 5th and the week of April 12th. So if you are one of my customers and you're waiting on a back order product to arrive, I will send an email in the next day or 2 that kind of gives you an estimate, so you'll know when your things might be coming. I think Stampin' Up! Is just like every other company. Shipping and customs and things in ports are just all in crazy mode right now. So things are just taking longer than expected. But in the meantime, you have lots of video ideas to check out. And I know that you guys will love giving this card a try. I had a lot of comments from people that said that they just didn't know how. They thought that this pop-up box card was going to be so hard that it wasn't even worth trying. And so that video tutorial that's linked in this video description will show you how to make the box. And then I've given you a couple different ideas for decorating it. So, all right. So I will see you guys again on Friday, and we will have another project that morning for Maker Mornings with Meg. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch and hang out with me a little bit this morning. So, all right, happy stamping and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.